Hi everyone. Before starting module 4 and 5, I wanted you people to understand some brief introduction with respect to big data because module 4 and 5 are mainly concerned with the machine learning algorithms. How your machine learning algorithms are going to play a major role with respect to big data. So if you want to understand all those algorithms which have a major and efficient role to play with respect to big data, you people need to be familiar with all these contents. So let's go through all these contents one by one. Once we complete this particular presentation session, just make sure you watch the entire presentation with complete concentration. Then we can start with the contents of module 4. So if you become familiar with this particular presentation, then it acts as a foundation for you people to understand the next two models, which is module 4 and 5, which are purely based on machine learning algorithms. First of all, what actually do you mean by big data? Which data can be called as big data? Is there any specific definition with respect to big data? The answer would be yes, there is a specific definition with respect to big data. Anything which is huge volume of data which cannot be stored. You cannot store that data. You cannot process that data using traditional approach. Even though if you are processing and storing that data, that huge volume of data using traditional approach, it cannot be completed in a given time frame. It will take huge amount of time in order to store and process that huge volume of data. So that is the major drawback if you want to deal with big data using your traditional approach. It is not at all possible. Even if you try to achieve that storing and processing, then it can't be completed in a given time frame. So that is the actual definition with respect to big data. Then how we can classify, how we can call the data as big data? Whether the data needs to be huge volume always. So if you want to call any data as big data, whether the data needs to be of huge volume, that is the question. The answer is no. Depending upon the context in which we are using the data, we can call that data as big data. I will just give an example. Consider you are trying to send an email with the help of Gmail. You are trying to send an email. So at the maximum, you can send an attachment which is of 25 MB. So with respect to that particular context, so with respect to the usage of Gmail, that 25 MB itself is the maximum limit. So anything over 25 MB will be treated as big data. So depending upon the context in which you are using your data, we can classify the data as big data accordingly. So why big data is taking such importance? Why big data is given that much importance in today's world? Because your data plays a major role. Everything in your world will depend on data. Every business will run on data. So imagine your Facebook just 5 years back, it was producing close to 100 terabytes of data. It was producing close to 100 terabytes of data. That was 5 years ago. Imagine what would be the content now. And also your Twitter was producing 400 million tweets. 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. Your Twitter were producing 400 million tweets 5 years back. So in order to deal with such a huge volume of data, you need to extract the data which is being produced. You need to process the data. So usually what businesses will do, they will extract the content that user is posting. Based on that content, they will analyze the likes of that particular individual. So once you analyze the likes, you can start posting products as advertisement to that particular individual. This all needs to be done in real time. So such millions of users, such millions of data, such terabytes of data getting produced every second, such huge volume of data will be called as big data that needs to be processed, that needs to be extracted efficiently. That's why your big data concept came into existence. Your data processing needs to take place in a short span of time. That should happen in a very short span of time. So you can classify your big data into three major categories. You can classify the big data as structured, semi-structured as unstructured. As given, this will be the examples of your structured. So structured means there will be proper formatting. So whenever you are storing the data in your database, it will be stored in a table format. Similarly, if you're storing data in Excel, it will be in a table format. So it will be structured. You won't vaguely store your data. You won't dump the data as it is. You will be storing the data in a formatted manner. Semi-structured. It will have some formatting, but not up to the extent of structured data. The examples you can give is email, the log files. What do you mean by log files? Whenever you are running some particular program, if you are getting some errors, why we are getting that particular error, that will be recorded in your log file. This will be very much important when you join your IT field. So in your IT field, they will always inform you to check your log files whenever you are getting errors. So those log files will play a major role. So next, for the one more example we can give for semi-structured is Word document. So unstructured means which is not at all structured. So the data will be won't be in structured or in semi-structured. It will be thrown vaguely. It will be thrown as it is. The best examples you can give for unstructured big data can be image, video files, and audio files. So this is what you need to remember with respect to the definition. So based upon the context also we can classify big data. So imagine how much data the world is producing nowadays. So in order to process and extract useful information from this huge volume of data, we need some efficient system. Those efficient system we are going to see in our next presentations, next slides. So these are the major classification of big data. So some of the characteristics with respect to big data, as I had already explained, it will produce huge volume, and the velocity. Velocity is nothing but speed. The speed at which the data is getting produced is very small. So in one single second itself, it will be producing some millions of tweets, some huge terabytes of data. So the speed at which the data is getting produced is very large. The variety, you won't be getting data in one single data type. You will be getting data in image format, you will be getting data in textual format, you will be getting data in audio format, you will be getting data in video format. There will be variety of data which will be getting produced. These are the three major categories. We can also call the categories as V cube: volume, velocity, and variety. The things which are covered in this particular presentation is not included for your syllabus, but to get better understanding of the syllabus mentioned in module 4 and 5, you need to watch this presentation so that you can easily understand module 4 and 5. So some of the challenges with respect to big data, as I had already mentioned, you cannot store and manage that huge volume of data. And also, once you store and manage, you need to process the data which is stored and extract some valuable information. This you cannot do in a given time frame. So if you are using traditional systems in order to store, manage, process, and extract big data, then it cannot happen in a given time frame. These are the major challenges when you are dealing with big data. So what your traditional approach will do, it will use a technique called as ETL, extract, transform, and load. It will extract the data, then it will transform the data to a suitable format, then it will load the data. Once the data has been loaded, you can query that database. But all these steps, which is extract, transform, and load, it will take a huge amount of time. So you are dealing with big data, your traditional approach or your traditional system won't be capable of dealing with big data in a given time frame. So that is a major drawback. So and also it will be an expensive approach if you're trying to deal big data using your traditional approach. So scalability, your data won't be going to reduce, rather it will keep on increasing. That data will keep on increasing. So dealing with big data, it is a time consuming approach if you are making traditional approach, making use of traditional approach. So to overcome all these disadvantages of traditional approach to deal with big data, we came up with a concept called as Hadoop. So your Hadoop is the actual system. Your Hadoop is the actual framework which has been used to deal with big data. So it is an open source framework. You can easily download Hadoop open source framework from internet at free of cost. So it has been developed by Apache Software Foundation. So Hadoop is basically used to do all the things. It is used to store, it is used to process, it is used to extract huge volume of data efficiently. So all huge volume of data, the big data handling will be done by a open source framework called as Hadoop. Your Hadoop mainly has two components, that is HDFS and MapReduce. I've already covered these major components in module 1 and 2. HDFS is used for storing and managing the data. Once the data is stored by HDFS, then MapReduce will process and compute or extract the data. Any useful information or any processing which is stored by HDFS will be done by the MapReduce. These are the two major components that which are present in Hadoop, which helps in dealing with big data. So these are the things you need to remember with respect to big data. So once you become familiar with this concept, so on this data which has been stored, we need to apply some machine learning algorithms, because dealing with big data means you are extracting some useful or valuable information. So only when you extract some valuable information, that will be helpful for a business. So for example, Facebook, in Google you will be browsing some content. So that content you are browsing for a mobile phone, you are looking for a mobile phone which is of 8 GB RAM. So after doing some research, if you log on to Facebook, you can start seeing advertisement of that particular mobile phone you have browsed. Or I can say you'll be start seeing advertisement of mobile phones which are of 8 GB RAM. How that happens? That is because of big data and machine learning algorithms. That big data needs to be processed. That valuable information you have just browsed, that needs to be extracted. How it will be done? That will be done with the help of machine learning algorithms. So in module 4 and 5, we are going to learn with respect to machine learning algorithms. There are many machine learning algorithms. So first, before going into those machine learning algorithms, I need you people to understand what actually do you mean machine learning, what are all the different types of machine learning. So machine learning is nothing but your systems will learn from data, they will identify some patterns, and they will make decisions on their own without human being intervened. Because there can't be an human being which tracks your browsing data. There needs to be a system which will track your browsing data. That browsing data tracked has to be transferred suitably to some other server. It can be Facebook server. So it will all happen in real time, and it will all happen without human intervention. So systems basically acting on their own without human intervention, those systems can be called as machine learning. So these machines learnt on their own. They didn't involve the interventions of human beings. So in machine learning, we can classify machine learning algorithms into two major types. First one is supervised machine learning. Second one is unsupervised. So what is the difference between supervised and unsupervised, Andre? In supervised, first you are going to train the system. So once you train the system, for example, I will give an example. Imagine you are trying to identify animals. So what I will make sure, I will give dog as one animal and cow as one animal. So I will make sure if the weight of animal is this much, then classify that as dog. If the color of the eyes is this, then classify that as dog. If the weight of cow is this much, then classify that as cow. If the color of the eyes is like this, then classify it as cow. I will train the machine with those features. If you find a test data, so once you train your system, you'll be giving test samples. So I will give one new cow, I will give one new dog. There, based on the training we have given, your machine will classify the test data to cow or dog. So you will train your system based on the training you are giving, your machine will classify the testing data. This is called as supervised. So as you can see, we teach or train the machine using data. Based on the training we have given to the machine, it will classify the new data that we will give. So these are some of the major machine learning algorithms. I can say these are some of the major supervised machine learning algorithms. All these supervised machine learning algorithms, we are going to learn about this in our module 4 and 5. So then what is with respect to unsupervised? You might have guessed by now. Supervised means you will train the system, whereas in unsupervised, you are not going to train your system. Then how your unsupervised machines will classify the data? It will classify based on some patterns. So it will look for the patterns in the test data. ಸೊ ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ ಪ್ಯಾಟ್ರನ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಆನಿಮಲ್, ಬೇರೆ ಪ್ಯಾಟ್ರನ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದನ್ನ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಆನಿಮಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫೈ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡೂ ಆನ್ ದ ಸ್ಪಾಟ್. ದೇರ್ ವೋಂಟ್ ಬಿ ಎನಿ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್. Task of the machine is to group unsorted information according to similarity, patterns, and differences without any prior training of the data. You won't give any prior training of data. Rather than you will look for the similarities, you will look for the differences, you will look for the patterns. Based on those similarities, patterns, or differences, you will classify the data. So that is called as unsupervised. So the two majorly used unsupervised machine learning algorithms are clustering and association. So these are very much important with respect to unsupervised. You're going to see about both these algorithms in your module 4 and 5. So some of the features of unsupervised is it is somewhat complex then compared to supervised. Obviously, because in supervised you are training the system and then you are testing. But in unsupervised you are directly testing the system without any training. So therefore it will be complex then compared to supervised. It is less accurate. That is also obvious, because if you are trying to test your system without any training, it is expected to give lesser result than compared to a system which has been trained. So that's why it is less accurate than compared to supervised machine learning algorithms. So these are the things you are going to see with respect to machine learning. So what all we learned in this presentation, we learned what is big data. So based on the context, we can classify big data. So how important big data is in present world, how you can classify big data. There are three categories. What are all the characteristics of big data? So what are all the challenges that traditional systems faced when dealing with big data? How we can overcome these challenges using a framework called as Hadoop. Your Hadoop framework has two main components. One is for storing and managing the data. Other is for processing and extracting, or I can say processing and computing the data. What are machine learning algorithms? Which are all the two types of machine learning algorithms? In those two types, which are all the algorithms you find in supervised and which are all the algorithms you find in unsupervised? How your unsupervised is different from supervised? So when you go through the syllabus of module 4 and 5, these are the contents you are going to see. These are all machine learning algorithms. So with respect to these machine learning algorithms, you are going to learn. But keep one thing in mind, all these machine learning algorithms you are going to apply on your big data. So main intention of learning machine learning algorithms is that you are using these machine learning algorithms on big data to extract some useful information. So if your business is capable of extracting useful information using these machine learning algorithms, then they can surely earn profits. Then they can benefit from all these machine learning algorithms. So we are going to start from module 4. So the first chapter with respect to module 4 is decision trees, that we are going to start from our next presentation session. Just make sure you watch the entire presentation session again and again, because this is the basic foundation if you want to understand module 4 and 5. If you are getting any doubts with respect to the presentation, you can ping me with respect to the doubts. Thank you.